Welcome to the Binge List. I'm your host, Paul Chappell. And today I thought I'd do something a little bit different as Game of Thrones mania has swept the nation and debate starts to rage about whether these shows are good as George R.R. Martin's books or what he would have written had he had more time to finish the series. I thought I would go back and actually look at some of the older episodes of Game of Thrones and pick 3 scenes that I felt like were actually better than the books. Now, this first one happened in season 1, episode 5, The Wolf and the Lion. And this is the scene where Jaime Lannister confronts Eddard Stark, also known as Ned, in the streets of King's Landing, demanding that he return his brother, who Catelyn has taken captive. Now, in this scene in the book, it plays a little bit differently. For one thing, Ned Stark and all his men are on horses, and they're pretty much, the streets are closed off by Jaime's men who are on foot. Jaime's the only one on a horse. In fact, Jaime never gets off his horse. So I felt like the scene on the show was superior because in this scene, Jaime actually gets off his horse. He actually has a sword fight with Ned Stark. We always hear about how great a sword fighter Jaime was, but we never actually get to see it because, as you probably know, spoilers, his hand is cut off, I think a couple seasons later. So we never actually get to see him in the books, well, or read about him in the books, being this great sword fighter. This scene, we actually see it demonstrated. He kills Jory. He has a pretty good fight with Ned Stark. And I also love this scene because there's a moment during the scene where you see that Jaime has a sense of honor because one of his soldiers stabs Ned Stark in the leg so that Jaime can get the upper hand. And Jaime is angered by that. That was not in the books. In fact, like I said, Jaime never got off his horse. In fact, in the books, Ned Stark, his leg is injured because he's knocked off his horse and the horse falls on top of him. So I just thought that what they did with Jaime in this scene just informed on his character a little bit better than the books did. And there's also, the only thing I would say about the books that was better is that the fact that Jory actually broke away from the soldiers and could have got away, but and Ned actually tells him, "Get out of here, Jory." But Jory turns back because this is his lord and he's going to defend his lord. And he comes back and of course he gets killed. He didn't get killed by Jaime in the books, but he does get killed. So I kind of missed that from the books, but I just felt like this scene overall was better on the show. And I'm going to stop talking about it and just let you relive it.
Such a small pack of wolves.
Stay back, sir. This is the hand of the king.
Was the hand of the king. I'm not sure what he is. Lord of somewhere very far away.
What's the meaning of this, Lannister?
Get back inside, where it's safe. I'm looking for my brother. You remember my brother, don't you, Lord Stark? Blonde hair, sharp tongue, short man.
I remember him well.
Seems he had some trouble on the road. You wouldn't know what happened to him, would you?
He was taken at my command to answer for his crimes.
My lords, I bring the city watch.
Come, Stark. I'd rather you die sword in hand.
If you threaten my lord again...
As in, I'm going to open your lord from balls to brains and see what Starks are made of.
You kill me. Your brother's a dead man.
You're right. Take him alive. Kill his men. For my brother, Lord Stark, I want him back.
Wow, good stuff. Now this next scene is a little bit more complicated because it's not just one scene. It was actually a series of scenes that were different from the books, but I chose one just for the sake of time. But it's basically episode 6 of season 2, The Old Gods and the New. This is a scene between Arya and Tywin Lannister. Now in the books, Arya never interacted with Tywin because there's a whole series of events that are different in the books. For one thing, Arya helps to free Harrenhal with Jaqen's help, Jaqen Hagar, and because of that, basically Jaqen lets out a bunch of Stark men and they take over the castle. But Tywin had already left by then, so as a result of that, Roose Bolton, who at this time was still, one of Stark's bannermen, he comes in, takes over the castle from the Lannisters, and he chooses Arya as his cupbearer. Now, if you've watched the show, you know, of course, that in the show, they substituted Roose Bolton with Tywin Lannister, and Arya becomes Tywin Lannister's cupbearer, and she has a series of scenes with him that gives us insight into Tywin Lannister. And the reason it's better on the show is because the scenes in the book with Roose Bolton, he pretty much ignores Arya. He's the type of lord who thanks lowborn people, although he doesn't know Arya is highborn, but in the book he thinks she's lowborn. He doesn't think lowborn people are worthy of his attention. They're just servants. Even though she helped, like I said, free Harrenhal from Lannister control, he still treats her kind of like dirt. But you do get some insight into Roose Bolton. He likes to bleed himself with leeches and stuff like that. You see all this creepy stuff that Arya sees, and that's okay. But I really enjoyed her scenes with Tywin because in the books you learn that Tywin's father was a very big disappointment to him. His father had a mistress, which is why Tywin feels like men who have mistresses or whores, as it were, are lesser men because of what he saw with his father. So it kind of explains his psychology a little bit and why he has such a problem with Tyrion and Tyrion's whores. So you get that insight. You also get some insight into Jaime, who he talks about with Arya. You find out that Jaime has dyslexia, which was not a thing from the books. It's something they created solely from the show. So there's just interactions with her and Tywin that I enjoyed. There's one comment in particular. She asked Arya how her father died, and Arya says, loyalty, I think is what she says. And I always think that line is funny, because that's essentially why Ned Stark died, because he was so loyal to the crown and to Robert. So I won't talk too much more about it. I'm going to go ahead and play it.
Who taught you to read?
My father, my lord.
Taught my son Jamie to read. Maester came to me one day, told me he wasn't learning. Couldn't make sense of the letters. He reversed them in his head. Maester said he'd heard tell of this affliction, and that we simply must accept it. Huh. After that, I sat Jamie down for 4 hours every day until he learned. He hated me for it, for a time, for a long time. But he learned. Where is your father? Is he alive? Who was he?
A stonemason.
Stonemason who could read.
He taught himself.
Quite a man. What killed him?
Loyalty.
You're a sharp little thing, aren't you?
Forgive me, my lord. I shouldn't ask questions.
No. But you've already begun.
Did you know your father, my lord?
I did. I grew up with him. I watched him grow old. He loved us. He was a good man. But a weak man. A weak man who nearly destroyed our house and name. I'm cold.
I'll fetch more wood for the fire, my lord.
Wow, I just love that Charles dance. Okay, this next scene is from season 3, episode 4, and now his watch is ended. It's the scene where Dany accepts the Unsullied from the Masters of Astapor. Now, this scene plays pretty much as it does in the books, with one exception, and that is Ser Jorah in the books advises Dany early on to not reveal to the Masters that she speaks High Valyrian, so that she can hear what they say during negotiations. And as a result, the Masters, I keep saying Maesters, the Masters of Astapor underestimate Dany. So a lot of people ask, well, why did the Masters of Astapor have the Unsullied within the gates of Astapor instead of outside the gates where it would have been safer? Well, one of the reasons is because they think Dany is some ignorant woman from Westeros, and the fact that she doesn't speak High Valyrian, or they think she doesn't speak High Valyrian, makes them look down on her. So the scene on the show plays differently, because you pretty much find out that Dany herself has been withholding this information from the Masters of Astapor, rather than getting this advice from Jorah. Jorah doesn't even know till the last moment. So I felt like that decision strengthened Dany's character more than it did Jorah's. And it just made me see how intelligent she was. And I just thought it just played a little bit better. It gets revealed at this crucial moment that she indeed speaks High Valyrian, right after she's taken the whip that gives her the authority over the Unsullied. So I just felt like it just played a lot better emotionally and dramatically. And with no further ado, I'll go ahead and play this scene.
Randaski, Mazmacho en grad. Jirene sit leves pon soldacho et hiri.
The master says they are untested. He says you would be wise to blood them early. There are many small cities between here and there, cities ripe for sacking. Should you take captives, the masters will buy the healthy ones and for a good price. And who knows? In 10 years, some of the boys who send them may be unsullied in their turn. Us all shall prosper. Is it done then? They belong to me.
Pindas lusa certida.
Certida.
This is done.
Pero si tieni.
You hold the whip.
Espero zia zantir.
Dovageris! Naijon mevatas! Geletis!
Vetra, j'espère, vidito magis.
Zaldrizes buzdaris cosdaor.
Traji valire.
Nige daineres gel masmo en targerio lentrot. En Valeria wepoana garexan. Valeria munioengos nuihis isa. Novagedi! Axiosentas, mentiosentas! Kiloni pilos luevale dolviosenetas! Inini odrigatas! Urnei lue dolve prisotas!
Aske! Cesena!
Dracaris.
Woo! I still get choked up when I see that scene. Well, that's all I got for today. I'd like to thank my sponsors. I'd like to thank all my contributors, Curtis Hood, RJ, Eve. We're going to have some stuff coming down the pipe, so stay tuned, all my subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.